Amazon's Kindle Scribe. It's the company's largest ever Kindle, by screen size at least, and its first Kindle capable of letting you take handwritten notes. It's also the first Kindle device in a number of years that's really caught my interest, as well as my ire. I held off reviewing this device, but eventually I knew there was a good chance I'd be getting to know the Kindle Scribe. First off, this isn't a full review of the device. This video is more like the notebook of some explorer on a journey, capturing general impressions as well as specific points I think people should know about this device, both good and bad. Let's start with first impressions, as in unboxing first impressions. In this Amazon bundle version, you get the Scribe, a premium pen, the one with the eraser built in on the back, its fabric cover case, and an Amazon power brick. The packaging is generally nice, with Amazon having chosen pleasing shades of violet blue, and this is certainly a more compelling appearance compared to the packaging of Amazon products of years past. However, there are a few areas of the unboxing experience, if you can call it that don't do anything to further endear the product to you. Yes, malfunctioning and difficult to open pull tabs. Surprisingly hard to do. Okay. Come on, Amazon, invest in better paper. To unpleasant noises being generated when pulling out the device's case. Okay, that made a terrible sound. Ooh. To the discovery of unpleasant textures to greet you when you do. This doesn't feel the greatest. There are a few puzzling packaging missteps for a $1 trillion plus valued company like Amazon. One of the biggest, though, was the discovery that my Scribe unit featured quite a noticeable trough between the bezel and the rim of the device. It hasn't impacted my use of the device so far, but I'm not impressed. But I do see it as a problem down the line. I'm sure this could collect dust and fabric particles over time, and it also makes me uncomfortable about ever taking even a mildly damp cloth to wipe down the screen. However, overall the device is admittedly pleasing to look at and has a certain touchability to it. It also feels considerably less heavy to lift up than I was expecting. The premium pen stylus also feels nicely weighted. First time startup wasn't too bad, but I will say this is both the slowest and most data-hungry setup process that I can remember for setting up a Kindle. How data-hungry? Well, at least to the extent that when you're prompted to enter your Wi-Fi password, the option to save password to Amazon was pre-checked. So you might want to take special care during that step. And if this is your first time buying a Kindle, be warned, you do seem to need an Amazon account to set up and use the device. When you do get the device set up, I was also less than impressed that several options in the device's settings menu, like those in the Privacy tab, required you to have the device connected to the internet to even access these. However, recent updates do seem to have changed this, so that's a welcome improvement. Additionally, most of the initial home screen is now essentially converted to ad space. I really don't think this is a great first impression. I kind of feel more like I bought a small e-ink billboard from Amazon that also just happens to read ebooks and PDFs, rather than a distinct e-reading device. The sensation of Amazon constantly trying to sell you something on a device they've just sold you is not a great feeling. So what's it like to use the Kindle Scribe? Well, things are mainly familiar to anyone who has used past e-ink e-readers, but also kind of weird. Navigating the device is alright, but somehow parts of the interface feel a bit clunky and off to me. Some things make perfect sense, like the nice little tabs at the bottom of the home screen that can quickly jump you to the home, library, notebooks, and more sections of the device. And the neighboring thumbnail image of whatever you were last reading that acts as a quick return to that document or ebook is also a nice time saver. In-document navigation is mostly familiar, with either paging forwards and backwards via swipes or tapping gestures working just fine most of the time. Pinch to zoom also generally works nicely in both PDF documents and Kindle ebooks. One kind of standout feature of the user experience that did impress me is that the Kindle Scribe does allow some screenshot functionality. This allows you to essentially take an image of the device's screen by pressing down on the very top right and bottom left-hand corners of the device at the same time. This function isn't perfect. Images are captured in grayscale even if the original was in color, and it doesn't always seem to work every time. But I'm glad this feature is there. These images are available by just plugging the device into a PC and accessing the screenshots in the screenshot folder. But getting back to navigation, I feel some of the things you need to do to navigate this device are almost anger-evoking. Let's start with the main home screen. Even though I know what to expect by now, there's some part of me that is perpetually confused. You're greeted with so much information all at once, and it just feels really cluttered and overwhelming. A bit Orwellian in a kind of dystopian way, and just so impersonal and big data corporate. On an aesthetic level, it rarely gives me a particularly positive feeling to look at this screen. The things I feel are truly clunky navigation experiences are mainly reserved for the various menus on the device. Having the very top of the home screen be the space you tap to access the main menu might be okay, but not being able to open any settings in PDFs or ebooks without reaching up to the very top of the screen can get annoying pretty quickly. The same goes with tapping that same menu to bring up the Frontlight controls on the device. This action always irritated me and felt like a very clumsy way to access these controls. Anyway, this kind of thing is deeply subjective, and it either will bother you or it won't. However, for me, especially when I tried to read with the Scribe while lying on my back, this was very annoying. The main reason that's more of an issue than on other e-readers is that the Kindle Scribe is among the heavier e-readers out there at 433 grams. That doesn't sound like a lot, and frankly, when I first unboxed the device, it felt a lot lighter than I thought it would. No, it was only one night when I lost my grip on the device and it smacked me directly in the face, ow, that I truly realized how heavy 433 grams can feel. The last navigation-themed weirdness is that so many of the menu icons on this device are almost comically small. It's kind of bizarre, but you have really tiny icons to tap. They're also really closely spaced together, so there have been many occasions where I wanted to select one option, but the other icon was triggered. That's another thing that can get annoying pretty quickly. So what about the Kindle Scribe's often hyped 300 ppi screen? The Scribe screen is high resolution and generally quite nice to look at. It might even be the most innovative part of this device. However, I haven't had too many moments where I really noticed this. I've had to actually hold both the Ellipsa 2e and the Kindle Scribe side by side and concentrate to really see much difference between them. Yes, if you're committed to finding the differences, you will see slight extra detail in the Kindle Scribe screen. However, as someone who has used many e-ink devices over the years, the difference doesn't feel particularly strong to me. However, comparing the Scribe to e-ink devices of yesteryear, like the Kindle DX, one does notice how far e-ink screens, and e-readers in general, have come. Pairing well with the Scribe's high-resolution screen is the device's Frontlight. This is certainly one of the better Frontlights out there, with generally even light distribution on the screen and no real dark zones I could discern. It also can manage quite a wide range of hues of light, from an almost icy Arctic blue to a tropical-like mango orange, and many in between. One thing that I do find a bit cumbersome is that in order to control the Frontlight, you always have to have the main device menu open. And because that menu is so large when it displays, this can distract and take you right out of whatever document or ebook you're reading. It would be nice if there were a little side menu to control just this aspect of the device, similar to the not tiny but somehow less obtrusive Frontlight menu on the Kobo Ellipsa 2E. What about PWM, or pulse width modulation issues? To sum that up in brief, PWM, or pulse width modulation, is essentially a flickering effect on the screen created by the LEDs in the Frontlight pulsing on and off. Thankfully, I haven't seen any PWM flickering so far. This footage was shot at 120 frames per second, and while the PWM banding comes across loud and clear on the Kobo Forma here, the Scribe seems to not have this issue. No matter what intensity and hue of the Frontlight I set it to, I wasn't able to observe any PWM flickering on the device. So that's good news. Ebook reading on the Kindle Scribe, like it generally should be on a Kindle, is quite nice overall. The 300 ppi resolution e-ink screen does mean the text appears crisp. Paging back and forth is snappy, and you can pinch to zoom the screen to adjust the text size on the fly. You also have many different ways of navigating your ebook, from normal page turns and the table of contents menu, to the page preview / page jump slider bar, or the document thumbnail view, although that only seems to be available in certain ebooks for some odd reason. There are also many font theme, margin, layout, and other text enhancement options. Special shout out to Amazon for having really useful options like offering a low vision theme, as well as the interesting ability to set your Scribe to a 2-column mode layout when reading your book in the landscape orientation. Bookmarks and annotation toolbars work pretty well too. However, the real standout to longtime Kindle users will be the ability to handwrite sticky notes on your ebook. It is nice to finally have this level of interaction with ebooks on a Kindle. As cool as this feature is, though, I don't think Amazon can get around the fact that this is still a less interactive experience than if Scribe users could actually write on an ebook itself. This isn't impossible, as other e-readers like the Kobo Ellipsa 2E do let you do this. Amazon may be slowly moving towards this direction, but at this stage it really isn't certain if they're going to get there. Additionally, I wasn't actually able to make handwritten notes on every ebook I tried. For example, I attempted to write a note on 2 autobiographies. So while Barbara Eden's Genie Out of the Bottle seemed to obligingly reply with,
"Like that, master?"
the response from trying the same thing on Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall was more of a
"Hasta la vista, baby."
So, to me anyway, the whole promise of writing on your ebooks, as currently implemented on the Kindle Scribe, is a bit of a win and a loss at the same time. How is the writing experience, you ask? Well, it's very good. The pen is nicely weighted, and the feel of writing on the screen is well calibrated to feel more like writing on paper than, for example, writing on an iPad. I personally don't think the writing experience is quite as tactile as the feeling you get when writing on the Remarkable 2. For one thing, the weight of that device's Marker Plus stylus seems more substantial than the Scribe's premium pen stylus. The sense of friction when writing on the screen also seemed less paper-like on the Scribe than on the Remarkable 2. So I do think the Remarkable 2 has a noticeable edge in overall writing feel. If the feel of the Remarkable 2 is closer to that of a pen or pencil on paper, then I'd say the feel of writing on the Scribe feels more like writing with a felt marker. But that's not to say that the writing experience on the Scribe isn't good. In fact, I'd say it's among the very best writing experiences e-ink devices can currently deliver. Interesting side fact, I actually found that the best writing feel from either e-reader came when I wrote on the Kindle Scribe using the Remarkable 2's stylus. The stylus should have shipped with the Scribe. Amazon, Remarkable, you guys gotta get some kind of agreement going, because this pen was made for this. Pressure sensitivity is also much better than when the Scribe originally launched. And even shading with the stylus feels natural and nuanced. The different pen types, eraser modes, and selection modes all work well. It's also a nice touch that one can set the button on the stylus to perform a variety of functions in the settings menu on the Scribe. The notebook modes available on the Scribe are basic, but are also intuitive, and depending how concerned you are about data privacy, might be useful for certain users. However, given the Scribe's propensity for requiring certain data to do fairly basic things, I personally would assume that anything you write on this device might be considered by Amazon as fair game for data mining. So you may want to think about what you'd be comfortable writing here. So what about PDF documents? Check out my full Kindle Scribe PDF secrets video to learn more, but the PDF experience is complicated on the Scribe. I will say that if you're planning to just read a PDF on the Kindle Scribe, that experience is actually pretty good. But even there, once in a while, there are a few unexpected bugs that make the Scribe feel like it's still kind of in beta testing. Error. Page cannot be displayed. I've never seen this. However, if you plan to actually write on PDFs on the Scribe, well, just watch my Kindle Scribe PDF secrets video as I go into all the specifics there. One very important red flag that, frankly, I don't feel people talk about enough is that if you're using a modern Apple computer to try to connect to the Kindle Scribe, it's likely that you're not going to be able to without some extra steps. Yes, you heard that right, Mac users. The Kindle Scribe has an extra speed bump just for you. The M1 Mac computer I tried to plug the Scribe into was never able to connect to the Scribe. At all. So yeah, no ability to put PDF documents or any other kind of file onto the Scribe, and no ability to take files off of it. Okay, when you try to plug the Scribe in, A portion of the message shown on the screen directs users to an internet link if you're unable to successfully connect to the Scribe. Following this takes you to Amazon's website. That takes you to a notice that tells you Mac computers running OS version 10.7 and above require extra Android software to be able to transfer files to and from the Kindle Scribe, and a further link to the Android page where you can download and install this software. Yeah, sadly, I'm not making this up. So for modern Mac users, the experience of using the Kindle Scribe will take a bit more effort, and I'm not sure why Amazon hasn't reached out to Apple to somehow smooth over this really weird incompatibility. To me, that's a pretty big disconnect between Amazon and its potential customers. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, how about giving it a digital like? And subscribe to encourage more Inktelligent videos like this one. Speaking of wiping down the screen, on the Kindle Scribe, prepare to do this often. Because it's just terrible. You get hairs, you get fingerprints, everything. I just wiped this thing down. It does tend to get fingerprints far too much. And dust and all these things a lot more than other e-readers. I hate how much the Kindle Scribe smudges. It's just such a smudgeosaurus rex.